So I'm just gonna make a simple fused clapton. I promised somebody I would make it for him. I'll make a little video for him. So since I'm pretty much out of nichrome, I'm gonna use Canthaw, 26 gauge Canthaw. And for the video's sake, I'm gonna use 36 gauge. What I prefer to use, my go-to fused claptons, and most people enjoy most from me, is with 38 gauge. 40 gauge gets dirty a little quicker, and 36 is just a little big for fused claptons if you ask me. But when you're learning how to do it, I mean, I started with 32 gauge. It's just a big wire. It's a good learning point actually. I'm just not going to go with 32 because I know I won't use it. At least with the 36 I'll slap it in something. So let me go ahead and take a piece of 26 gauge out, straighten it out. Got a tape measure. Anything to let you know how much wire you're using. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to take one long piece out and I'm going to fold it through my fishing swivel. It's on a spinner. Don't get distracted with that. If you don't have that, you don't need it. All you need is just some ball bearing fishing swivels. So I'm going to run it through there and double loop my fuse, because a fused clapton is 2 cores running through. So I think 20 inches is plenty, to be honest. You can go less, but it's not a bad start. You can even sometimes get pretty big coils out of that if you wanted to, depending on what resistance you're targeting. So we're going to straighten it out. What we're going to do is I'm just going to bend. This came off the spool anyways like that with the 90. You bend it in a 90 like that. Stick it in your drill. That's a way longer tag than I normally have, but that's how it came off the spool. So we'll just use it from there. You just stick it in the middle of your chucks here. Doesn't have to be dead center because all we're doing is spinning it to. I wouldn't have my pliers in front of me, would I? Grab the other end with your pliers. Stretch it tight, keep it tight, spin it. Doesn't need much. If you want to spin the drill back the other direction, you can do that too. Then reach over to the other end before you let go and hold your fingers, hold pressure on it. If you don't, the wire will come out all wavy and wonky on you. So once you got that going, you can just move your drill up closer to your swivels. And I like to have this one connected for when I do these. Normally I leave the hook open. It's bent to hell anyway, so I'm not going to leave it closed. Time for a new one. So I just run it through my swivel. Now it's connected there, and bend another 90 at the other end to where it's shaped like an L. Stick that in the drill into the chuck. Now just stick it out of the another hole. Don't stick it out the same one that the other one's in. Sometimes you can just take them back out together and you got them going in 2 different directions there, and then pop them in. Get it down nice and tight. When you pull back, get stuck on my split ring. When you pull back on it, it's gonna pretty much pull itself right in half. Now you got these 2 wires, and they're nice and tight. Give it a pinch down in the end so you get it pretty flush. Then all you do from that point is you keep your wire on your spool. Oh, it looks like it popped loose on me. Let me get this back in order here real quick. Keep telling myself to order some spool tamers, but I never do. It doesn't happen to me often, though, so that's probably why. If that happened often, I'd be going nuts and ordering them. Now, I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna turn you and show to the tag end right here. I'm gonna point at the tag on the phone for you. You can see that. So I'm gonna clip that off because that's just so big anyways. I don't like seeing how big that is. Take your thumb against the drill and push your thumb. You don't want to reach around with the drill. I find that it's better to go faster, but if you've never fused anything before, start out slow and you can slowly speed up. So now that I'm tied on, I've got my spool in my hand to hold on to it. You're going to be holding this spool on a 90 degrees, so you're going to be moving your hand along, watching the wire fuse. And all you're going to be doing, the biggest trick is watch up here as a shadow in your peripheral vision. You'll see it when it's shiny that it's going on. You'll see the shadow of it. You'll know that it's fusing tighter or not with a little practice. But this wire that comes up is really what you want, your primary focus. And you're going to watch this wire remain perfectly straight, like at a 90-degree angle coming from there. And you're going to maintain it as you move along, because if you fall behind, it'll backtrack over itself. If you go too far ahead, you're going to start having gaps and spaces and seeing the cores, and you won't have a nice tight fuse. So pretty much, like I said, take your thumb, put it up against the drill that way. That's the better way to do it, and let you push your drill back a little more too, keep a little tension, which is good too. So now you got to just jump onto the wire. If you start it out and it's all gappy, it's not a big deal. And if it really bothers you, you can take your thumbnail up against it, push it all back up against the chuck. Not a big deal. So again, remember you're watching this fuse wire is going to be your primary focal point. You're going to watch this, make sure it keeps the same angle all the way down. You don't want to have it forward this angle and then this angle and then this angle and then this angle. The goal is you're going to watch this feed wire, this fuse wire, maintain the perfect, same, identical, consistent angle all the way down. And this is going to, the core wire is going to be in your peripheral vision. And you're going to be watching that, the shine, you want to, it's going to take a little practice, you'll see. For a while there, you're going to be watching the core, because you have to identify with actually how it does look, you know, how you want it to look. And then after that, then you can start looking at it as your peripheral vision. So that's going to be your primary goal, is this to be your focal point, and this being in your peripheral vision. So let's get the fusing. See, I jump right into it that fast. That's really not the best way to teach anybody. You kind of want to throttle into it. A little faster, a little faster. Once you feel comfortable. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going full speed. I like going full speed. There's nothing wrong with going slow either, as long as they either get the job done and you're comfortable. Right now, I'm watching the fuse wire. I'm watching the angle of it. That's what I have the most control of, and that's the most that has the most effect on the final product. The core wire, again, is in my peripheral vision. I'm just watching the shadow of it. You can watch the consistencies of it in the shadow. You see, I'm just holding the spool, spinning my fingers. Now maybe about 12 inches away from the core wire. I find that keeping it about 12 inches away gives you more control over maintaining this 90-degree angle, or whatever angle it is that you're maintaining, depending on what build you're doing. So that's it. Wrap this back up. Snip off your fuse wire. Some people will backtrack it a little bit. For some reason, people worry about it unwinding. I've never had anything unwind on me, really. I mean, very few times that'll happen. There's usually a reason for that. But I guess some people have different problems. So, and if it happens to you, you can just, as you're done spooling, just bring it back and let it overlap a little bit. And the purpose, I guess, for that is to tighten up your fuse and so it don't come off. But, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and snip this off. What did it give me? What do I got? About 10.5 inches of it. I mean, between 3.5 and 4 inches is all you need for a coil, so you can probably make some pretty big coils out of this. Let me go ahead and whip something up here. Snip it in half and see how big I can make out of this. Now, something I probably should have showed you, when you have your core on here, it can be twisted. So you hold the end of it where the swivel is, and you pop your drill in reverse, and you spin it with your slow gear, and just vroom, 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 and spin them out. And you'll notice that this side straightens out, but then it'll get a little worse in the middle, from the middle to the drill. Just grab it with some toothless pliers in the middle, clamp down, or some nylon pliers, and then spin the drill again that way to undo it. You can grab it from the middle. So, you know, or you can do the way I'm doing it now to untwist them, is I just kind of work the twist out when I'm coiling it. So this would end up being a good, oh, I got some hot spots there. You seen that in the right coil, the little lightning strike thing that looked in there. If you go back and watch that, if you're not sure what a hot spot is, you see like a little lightning streaks that run through the coil. And the best way to get rid of those, you strum your coils. Then fire again. Just don't be firing while you're strumming them. You can give them little pinches. Ceramic needle nose work pretty good for that. You can use just pliers, like needle nose pliers or something as well. You work that out, get them glowing from the center out. More hot spots there, but I can't work that out on the camera here. But if you look, and it's that right, you see them. I'm flashing them right now. Them are hot spots. You see the whole right coil in the middle. Mostly, yeah, it's all over that coil. So that'll give you, for the longest time I questioned what a hot spot was, so that's good that I captured that in this video so you can see that if you're questioning what it is. That's definitely what a hot spot is, and you do not want to wick it. If you wick it when the hot spot is in there, it's going to give you a burnt taste. That hot spot's just going to give you all cotton taste and burnt taste, and you're not going to like it very much. So this ended up clocking in at 0.33. That's a good series build. So I'm running at 7 volts now at 150 watts to ramp it up. So again, they're Canthal cores. Yeah, some hot spots are there. I'm gonna have to work them out. But they're Canthal cores only because I'm out of the nichrome. I prefer to do these with nichrome. That'll get the resistance down a little more though. But it'll give you, for the ramp up, nichrome ramps up faster, being that the nichrome 80 is 80% nickel. So, all right, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching.